Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Badrul Munir bin Abdul Basir. I am from 12G. In this video, I am going to explain the differences between American and British pronunciation using a few simple words such as temper, water, news, and bath. I will also refer to the pronunciation clips that I will be providing for you to watch before I explain them. Pronunciation differences between American and British English are not random. They follow specific phonological patterns such as rhoticity, flapping, vowel quality, consonant variation, and yacht dropping. I will explain these terms step by step using the words shown. Without further ado, let us move on to the first word. Before that, I will provide you with some clips for you to watch.
Gentle start losing his temper more. The truth is, his temper doesn't come.
Temper.
The word that you listen in my clips just now is the word temper. In American pronunciation, you will hear them pronounce it as temper. The final syllable is very important here. It contains what we call an R-colored vowel, written as this. This is not just a normal vowel followed by an R sound. Instead, the vowel itself is influenced by the R sound, which changes its quality. This happens because American English use rhoticity. What is rhoticity? In phonological terms, rhoticity refers to whether the R sound is pronounced in all positions, including at the end of the syllables. In American English, the R sound is always preserved. So even in unstressed position like the second syllable of the word temper, the R sound remains audible. To make it easier to understand, American English will pronounce the R sound, whether it is in the middle of the word, in the beginning of the word, or in the end of the word. Now, if we compare this with British English, we will hear them pronounce the word temper as temper. You see the difference? Temper and temper. The final R is no longer pronounced. Instead, the vowel becomes a schwa. The schwa is the most reduced vowel in English. It is short, weak, and neutral to speak. The schwa will often appear in unstressed syllables, and its main function is to reduce effort in speaking. But in British English, the R sound will be pronounced if it is followed by a vowel. So what is happening here is a combination of two phonological processes. First, non-rhoticity in British English causes the R word to be deleted unless followed by a vowel. Second, vowel reduction replaces the stronger vowel quality with a schwa. The difference may seem small, but it actually affects the overall rhythm and sound quality of the word, which is the pronunciation. American English sounds slightly fuller at the end of the R-colored vowel, while British English sounds softer and more reduced. Now, let us move on to the next word, which is before that. Let's take a look at these clips.
I know.
Alright, I'll get you a bottle of water.
Ew.
Would say things like water.
The second word is water. If you listen carefully to the American pronunciation, you will hear them pronounce it as water. There is something very interesting happening in the middle of the word, which is the T sound. The T sound does not sound like a strong T. Instead, it sounds more like a squeak, soft tap, similar to the D sound. This is a phonological process called flapping, or more technically, alveolar tapping. In this process, the voiceless alveolar plosive, which is the T sound, becomes an alveolar tap. It occurs between two vowel sounds, especially when the second vowel is unstressed. The tongue will quickly touches the alveolar ridge without fully stopping the airflow, creating a very fast sound. That is why American English pronounce water as water. In contrast, British English, they retains the voiceless plosive, which is the T sound. They will pronounce the word water as water. This means the sound is fully articulated with complete closure and release of airflow. To make it easier to understand, they fully cover the alveolar ridge and release the airflow suddenly. So, the T sound is more distinct and will sound clear in British pronunciation. There is also a second major difference in water, which is again rhoticity. In American English, just as I explained just now, the final syllable contains R-colored vowel, meaning the R will be pronounced even in the beginning of the word, in the middle of the word, or in the end of the word. However, in British English, the R sound is dropped and the vowel will become schwa. But again, remember, British English, they will pronounce the R sound if the R sound is followed by a vowel. So in this single word, we can observe two very important processes happening together. In American English, they have flapping and rhoticity. However, in British English, they completely cover the alveolar ridge and release the airflow suddenly. And British English is also non-rhotic. This combination gives American English a smoother, more connected sound in fast speech, while British English tends to sound more articulated and separated between sounds, which make them sound less effort in speaking. Now, let us move on to the next word. Before that, as usual, let's take a look at these clips.
Good evening. This is Easy English News.
I love the delivery of British news.
I'm going to get overexcited about this news, whereas American news is everything is big.
This has happened today, but tomorrow there'll be more news.
Yeah, that's very ITV news, I would say.
The word that you listened just now is news. In American English, news usually pronounced as this, which sounds like news. However, in British English, it is pronounced as this, which sounds like news. The main difference here is very simple. British English includes the y sound after the n sound, while American English usually does not. This y sound is called yod, written as this. So in British English, you get the n sound plus y sound and plus the u sound, which makes it sounds like news. In American English, this y sound is dropped. This process is called yod dropping. So instead of news, it will become news. You can feel the difference when you say it. News and news. For British pronunciation, your tongue will move slightly upward to produce the y sound before the vowel. However, for the American pronunciation, your tongue moves directly from the n to the o sound, which make it faster and smoother to speak. So the key idea here is very simple. British English keeps the y sound or the yod, while American English drops it. That is the difference between American and British English for the word news. Let's us move on to our last word for this video. But as usual, I am going to show you some clips before I explain about the next word. Let's watch it.
Hey, why do you need to take a bath?
Bath, bath.
Last but not least, the word is bath. In American English, bath is pronounced as this or bath. The vowel here is a, which is a near open front vowel. This means the tongue is positioned towards the front of the mouth and the jaw is relatively open but not fully lowered. The sound is short and sharp. A. In British English, bath is pronounced as this or bath. The vowel is R, which is an open back vowel. Here the tongue is lower and further back in the mouth, and the vowel is longer in duration. Can you hear it? Bath, 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 bath. This difference is related to vowel quality and vowel length. American English, they generally maintains a shorter vowel in this environment, while British English uses a longer and more complete vowel. This also affects the overall sound of the word in speaking. British English tends to sound more like heavy vowel, such as bath, while American English sounds more clipped and direct, bath. Now to summarize everything in a clear way, temper shows rhoticity and vowel reduction, where American English keeps the R sound and British English reduces it to a schwa, which is non-rhotic. Water shows flapping in American English, along with rhotic versus non-rhotic endings. After that, the word news. It shows yod dropping in a simple way, where British English says news and American English says news. And last but not least, bath. Bath shows differences in vowel quality and vowel length. Overall, we can see from all of these examples I have provided you is the pronunciation differences between American and British English are not random. They will follow a consistent and specific phonological rules. Once we understand these rules, it becomes much easier to recognize and even predict the pronunciation differences between American and British English. So, when you watch the pronunciation clips again, try to focus on these features instead of just the surface sound. You will realize and you will start to hear the strict system behind each differences. I think that's all from my explanation for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you have fun. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.